Hey there, everyone. I'm 13 News Now Meteorologist Rachael Peart with your afternoon update on the Atlantic tropics. It continues to be busy out there as we continue to watch multiple systems and the potential for multiple systems as well. Let's go ahead and jump right into things. We're looking at the full swath of the Atlantic tropics right here. We have Tropical Depression Vicky still out there. Hurricane Teddy, you can see that well-defined eye really coming into play right now. The remnants of Sally blowing over the eastern coast of the United States, and potential Wilfred in the western part of the Gulf of Mexico. So right now it is still the Atlantic hurricane peak season. It's not just that one day, September 10th. We're still a week away, or a week past that rather, and we are continuing to deal with multiple systems, multiple named system, and multiple invests out there as well. So peak tropical activity is more like 8 weeks, and we are right in the thick of it as we head into the middle part of October. So still about a month to go for this peak hurricane time frame, and you do see that 75% of tropical storms form during that time, 85% of Cat 1 and 2, and then over 95% of major hurricanes typically form during that time frame. So again, still in that peak hurricane season. Speaking of hurricanes, here's a look at Teddy. This is the 11 o'clock advisory, 610 miles east-northeast of the Lesser Antilles. You can see some of those islands like Martinique, Dominica, heading down through St. Vincent, across that area, also well away from Puerto Rico, the British and the U.S. Virgin Islands as well. Those winds at 120 miles an hour with that 11 a.m. advisory. That's when Hurricane Teddy was seen to be a Category 3 major hurricane, the second that we've seen so far this season. So Teddy is the second major hurricane of the 2020 Atlantic season. We did see Laura reach Category 4 strength, and the average date for the second major hurricane in the Atlantic is actually October 3rd. So right on par with 2020, we're seeing some of these storms forming ahead of that average time frame that we would typically expect. Hurricane Teddy right now moving northwest at 12 miles an hour, pressure down to 957 millibars. Still some strengthening expected with Teddy. It's not done quite yet, but as it continues to move a little bit north, it's going to be moving into some of those waters that Paulette moved over, kind of brought up some of the cooler water. So we are going to also be watching a weakening trend heading into the weekend and early next week. But you do see, or you might see right behind this line here, Monday 8 a.m. That's actually Bermuda, very close to where Paulette moved through. We could be seeing another Category 2 hurricane moving toward that country as well into early next week, so something to keep an eye on. Tropical satellite, this is the IR imagery, and you do see in those last couple of frames, here comes that eye right there. By 3 o'clock in the afternoon, we have a pretty well-defined eye within the center of Teddy, and we're also watching this on the and just another look at the IR satellite, and you can see those whites showing where the stronger of the thunderstorms are within that western part of the hurricane. But again, that eye very well defined, which is typical as we start to see those stronger hurricanes in the Atlantic. Taking a look here, this is actually water vapor imagery. This blue area, obviously that's Teddy, and this tan, that's actually some drier air that Teddy's kind of pushing up against. So that's kind of giving it maybe a little bit of resistance on the strengthening front, but we also need to watch for wind shear as well. Teddy's in an area of some wind shear at this point, and as it continues to move off to the northwest, it does start to quiet down as far as that wind shear goes. But right now, that might be another thing that's kind of limiting that more rapid intensification that we saw with Teddy within the past couple of days. Sea surface temperatures, this is where tropical systems thrive in these type of temperatures. Back towards Teddy, where that's moving mid 80s and then moving up into the lower 80s, as I mentioned, moving into some of those cooler waters that Paulette kind of upwelled, which means it's kind of bringing it from the bottom and bringing it up to the top. So we have some cooler waters closer to Bermuda. But then as we look towards the Gulf of Mexico, temperatures in the mid to upper 80s, closer to 90 degrees as far as that water temperature goes. So tracking the tropical Atlantic, let's head over to the Gulf of Mexico right now. We have Invest 90L within the next 2 days, a 90% chance of development. Same story within the next 5 days, but we are expecting a tropical depression or a tropical storm to form from Invest 90L as we head into the next 24, maybe even 12 hours, less than that. So definitely expecting some tropical development there. Here's a look at Invest 90L on the tropical satellite. Not too much to look at, but we are continuing to watch it for that potential of becoming Wilfred. As mentioned, very, very warm water temperatures, so that system is thriving and it is just feeding off of those extremely warm waters in the western part of the Gulf of Mexico. Some wind shear a little bit to the north, a little bit to the south. We're pretty much where the center of that storm is. It's not really encountering too much wind shear, but it is on the northern and southern boundaries, especially as you head a little bit farther up toward the north. You do see the southern point of Texas there, just to the right of my head. Here's a look at Invest 90L. This is the 2 o'clock advisory movement north at about 6 miles an hour. We are going to look here at the spaghetti plots. Now, it's a little bit of a mess. Things are a little bit confusing when we're looking at Invest 90L. Where could it head? What could we be talking about? But for the most part, a lot of those models do bring it up, and then some bring it back off to the west, closer to parts of southeastern Texas, maybe closer to Corpus Christi, that area. So, of course, keeping an eye, not just for southern Texas, but also as we head into the northeastern part of Mexico as well. So there's Invest 90L. We have more to talk about as we head into the far eastern Atlantic. This is Invest 98L, and toward the top of your screen, that's Invest 99L. Not expecting too much from that. It is going to be moving into Portugal, however, with some heavier rain. So definitely areas that are in Portugal, maybe heading into Spain as well, should be on alert for Invest 99L. This did have a higher chance for developments a few days back, but now it is down to a medium level chance for both the 2 and the 5-day outlooks. But we could potentially see more tropical development with this in the shorter term, because as it moves a little bit farther out in time, things aren't looking quite as friendly for Invest 98L. Here's where we stand as far as the names for the list go. We are currently with Teddy, that Cat 3 storm. We do still have Tropical Depression Vicky. Sally right now a remnant low, but bringing quite a bit of heavy rain into the southeastern United States. Tornado watches into the Carolinas, flash flood watches extending up through Virginia. So continuing to watch what's left of Sally, even though it no longer has those tropical characteristics. The only name left on the list is Wilfred, and we could be seeing that with Invest 90L. Again, in a very short time period, we could be talking about a tropical depression, or looking more likely like a tropical storm. So once that forms, then we have to go into the Greek alphabet. This is something that's only happened one time before, and that was in 2005. We actually got down to Zeta in 2005, so that was 6 names into the Greek alphabet, and a couple of those in 2005 actually did make hurricane status as well. So still quite a bit to watch with this hurricane season. We are far from done. Check this out. Percentages of named storms per month. We get about 34% of those named storms during the month of September, and then almost a quarter of named storms still could form as we head into October and November. So again, we are far from done with this season yet. So if you do have any questions, or if you'd like to follow me along on social media, here's where you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. But of course, make sure you are subscribed to the 13 News Now YouTube channel and click the bell so you can get alerts for whenever we drop a new Tropics video. We try to do them at least once per day. And as mentioned, we do still have a couple more months of hurricane season, so we hope that you will follow along with us and stick with our team of meteorologists, because we are the most accurate forecast in Hampton Roads.